I just to pick up where we left off a second ago. I I think that whenever there's a difference between dream casting and fan casting. And when
Okay.
I say fan cast,
Hmm.
I want the cast to be a fan of the thing. I don't want
I see.
fans to cast.
So it's like the difference between some like the community saying this person would be great at this role, and the actual actor being
Maybe.
like, I would love to do this.
Yeah, because what if they're wrong?
Hmm.
Just because he looks or she looks like the part? I want someone who's like, perfect example, John Bernthal.
Punisher.
I, yeah, I was not a fan of John Bernthal.
Hmm.
Okay. And I told Norman this. I was like, I was not a fan. I was like, I thought he was a bit over the top. And I didn't realize he's classically trained. And when I found out he wore something like a 40-pound rucksack and walked to set from Brooklyn to the Lower East Side
Seriously?
at Steiner Studios every day.
Oh wow.
He at the Comic Con panel in San Diego is like, I just want to. They're like, congratulate, we welcome. He brings out the Punisher. You know, this is John Bernthal, and he comes out, and the first thing that he says is like, I just want to recognize to all of our armed forces, especially the Marines. I understand what this role means to you, and I want you to know that I'm coming at it with that level of respect. I was like, that's what we need. I
Hmm.
want someone who's like, I grew up reading these comics. I grew up playing this game. I swear to God, I
Where it
know
like
that I'm
means
not
something to
right.
them. Well, even
Yeah,
like
but
Ben Schwartz was that for Sonic. Like
really,
he was a fan of the games and everything, and I think in interviews he talked about all the voice actors who played Sonic before him and like learning from
Roger Craig
them.
Smith,
Yeah,
namely
and the guy who played Earl or Urkel from whatever that
Steve
show.
Urkel.
Yeah.
What is his name? John Humphreys.
Yes.
I don't
Great
know.
Sonic. I don't know.
Wait, Steve Urkel was
Yeah.
Sonic?
You know, in like some weird Sonic cartoon in the 90s. The 90s was full of like the weirdest cartoons. There were
Where you're like,
three
you're
Jim
on this show, now
Carreys.
do this show?
Yeah. It's just like, we need you for 5 minutes.
That'll translate into this. You know that John Cryer was originally the voice in Planes, helped write it,
Hmm.
and it went to testing, and they were like,
Didn't work.
didn't work.
Interesting.
So then they got Dane Cook. Dane Cook.
How often does that happen?
I think a lot, man.
Hmm.
I think it happens a lot. We're talking to Todd Stashwick, and Todd Stashwick was saying, I didn't realize he shot for 8 months on Uncharted. And then
Oh, wow.
tipsy turvy, everything goes changing, and you got Eric Stoltz. But it wasn't really that's not a fair comparison. In
Yeah.
some ways, it was like it was yes, because Todd Stash, dude, fucking first of all, Todd Stashwick is an amazing actor and he's a brilliant writer.
Yeah. If
And he's
you guys haven't listened to the writer's room, it's up on Patreon.
God, you guys if you who's watching this is not part of that. But if you are, what are you doing with your life? So we've spent the last month, 6 weeks, building up our writer's room. If you're a writer, this is the place. I really, it is. It's one of the best things that we're doing on this. It to me, it has been a star on the horizon. Where it's like, this is where we need to be taking this thing. It needs to be about finding a pocket within the community that is really into something and going, okay, how can we foster and bolster your skill set, your talent, your passion? How can we equip you? The three things that Relator is about is education, entertainment, and community. Boom, those three things. We want to have fun together. We want to learn stuff together, and mainly we want to do it together. So those are the three things. If you're just now finding out what this thing is, Relator is those three things: entertainment, education, and community. And it is about finding out, discovering, first of all, that everyone is a storyteller and that we all are telling our story and we're doing it in different ways. There are people that sing, there are people that write, and you should join our writers' room every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific. We had Todd Stashwick in last week. We had Hallie Gross in the week before. We've got other types of screenwriters, journalists, novelists, poets, different people that come from all different types of writing that are coming together, and it's super intimate. So it's your one-on-one masterclass with some brilliant writers and a community of other writers to check your writing against theirs and get some great positive feedback. It's the most encouraging community you can find on the internet, except for like Brian and Amelia Deckard. They're pretty
They're pretty great.
fucking Jacksepticeye. Well, his goes back and forth.
But we don't want to compare.
There is no comparison.
Yeah.
It's like what we're doing is totally different. Like I don't want to do. I love Sean, but I do not want to do what he does. That is a whole, or Ethan, man. I like Crank Gameplays or Markiplier. Like that is a young man's game. And what I want to do is, I don't want it to be. I always said this before. It's like even today, I'm not hosting Prompt. Sounds like I'm going to introduce her, but I'm not yet. I'm going to wait a second.
Okay. I won't hit that.
She's hanging on the wings. I want this to be about. I had an idea for Prompt, and it was X, and it was really built off of watching The Matrix. And I was like, what happens? I'm going through through our week. I'll get there in a second. We'll hold on to Prompt. Wednesday, so Monday is legit. I don't think we're gonna have a legit this Monday.
No. Do you want to do a live
right.
one?
Yeah, fuck yeah, maybe. Yeah, we'll just find a time to do that.
Yeah.
I'm down for that. We'll call it. It's our 17th legit. We'll do
Yeah. Every 17
17th.
legits, we'll do a live one.
Is it actually? Did I get the number right? Is it 17?
Yeah.
Magnus was 16. I just plucked that number out of my head.
There you go.
So Monday is when we drop legit, which is Let's Get Into It. It's our podcast, a straight up one-on-one conversation with myself and someone of interest or import, and finding out more about them. Tuesday is to all the films I've judged before with our very own Lula K and Katie V, where they sit down and discuss either a film or TV show, and like our very own Siskel and Ebert talk about their differences or their similarities and their opinions. Wednesday is our writers' room, 1 p.m. Pacific. I already talked to you about that. Come join us. Thursday is kind of our day off. Is that right?
Yeah. Thursdays, days off, Fridays, gameplays.
Fridays are gameplays. Saturday, we sit down and we watch a movie. Yesterday, we did Harry Potter. This, for the rest of like the next 2 weeks, I got full traveler duty. Pam is like crushing right now, so she's doing shoots, and so the boy falls on me. Actually, fell on me. Pretty funny. I will admit to you right now. Yesterday, we were in the kitchen. We're having a little snack, and he wanted to listen to Beatles songs. So we're listening to Beatles, and he was like skipping some classics. I was like, dude, you can't skip Come Together. He was like, next song. I was like, all right. And we get on Hey Jude, and he stands up on the counter and he looks at me, and he just starts singing Hey Jude. And then it gets to that big, no one has ever been able to write a song like Hey Jude.
Mm-hmm.
And we start singing the na-nas, and we're just like singing it, screaming at 2-year-old, the top of his lungs, arms are up, and I just started crying. I was like, you're the coolest kid. You're the coolest kid. So Saturdays we watch a movie together. We find out some movie that everybody, of course, has seen, except for maybe this person. Then we invite them to join us right here in our private Zoom, and we watch a film together. It could be anything. We've watched everything from The Matrix to Godfather to Shawshank Redemption to Seven Samurai to Harry Potter, V for Vendetta. It doesn't matter. It's just about experiencing a movie together. And then today is Prompt. Prompt is a community creative event where we come together and we discuss a theme. And we find out today who our host is. Tiny Hannah is going to discuss the theme that she's chosen for today. And then if you're joining us on YouTube, if you're watching this, what we do is we challenge you to find a creative way for you to express this chosen theme in your own specific way. It can be anything. It can be a song, a poem, a dance, stop motion art, anything. Go build something out of Lego. Doesn't matter. Just do something that creatively expresses that theme and then share it with us somehow. Tag us on Twitter. Share it with a friend. Put it up on your own YouTube channel, Twitch, whatever you want to do. This is an exercise for you to realize that you're a storyteller and for you to find a creative way to express this incredible theme that she's chosen. If you're part of our Rad Pack, which is our Patreon, go to patreon.com/Troy Baker. We're putting together a really cool video that's going to be discussing what our Patreon is all about. It's not just a place for you to throw money. It's a place for you to invest in this platform and to get something out of it and help other people achieve their dreams. But our Patreon allows you to be a part of our Rat Pack, which is perfect example is today. Once we get done with here, we're going to sign off on YouTube and we'll say Godspeed. You will go off and you will create, and then we will join back here in our private Zoom, and then those people will have 30 minutes to find a way to creatively express the theme that the tiniest of Hannahs has chosen for us today. If that's not the best setup ever, see, told you I'd come back to
There
it.
you go.
Joining us now, the tiniest of Hannahs. Now, you reached out to me on the Twitters, and you're
did.
like, "Hey," and so true to your formula, like it might be absolute rubbish. And I was like, "Stop qualifying, stop apologizing." The only one that apologizes more than you is Cassie, who probably just right now just ducked under covers, probably
She's
quilted.
hiding.
Yeah, she made a quilt just so she could put her head under it and said, "I'm sorry" the entire time. She apologizes more than Canadians. You said, "Hey, I've got an idea for prompt. Can I do it?" And you shared it with me. I was like, "That's awesome," and it's so unique to you. And you're an incredibly unique person. I love that you're one of those people that was like, "Hey, I remember you. I know you. That you're a con buddy, and you have just kept yourself active and available and a cornerstone of like all of the different communities that whether it be retro replay or here, you're a good egg. You're a good influence. You are a effervescent source of you're a shining example of community. How about that? That may be the best way to put it, most succinct way
Oh,
to put it.
stop.
Oh, I won't. But you do have the auspicious position of kind of sharing with us what the theme is for today. So please take it
Mhm.
away.
Okay, so the theme today is based on a Welsh word that is hiraeth, and it doesn't really have an exact English translation or definition, but it basically means a longing for something. It's almost like a homesickness or a kind of wistfulness, and I thought that it kind of fit well at the moment, what with the pandemic and everything, and we can't really see family or friends. You know, there might be people that we want to see, that might be something that we're longing for. So I thought it'd be quite interesting to put this theme out here and see what people are longing for and how they choose to express that.
I love, especially because you chose a word that is endemic to your culture, if I can use that word.
Hmm.
And how often a way that we feel, a way that I feel, or a word that I would use doesn't necessarily translate, not just linguistically, like there may not even be a word in it for in the other language, but just someone's background and their worldview, that word means something different. And that's kind of the whole point of prompt. It's not define this, is what does it mean to you? And when you think of that word, what does it bring you to? And especially you framing it within the context of like a wistfulness or a homesickness. That
Mm.
to me are almost, they're not opposites, but they are very different words. Like when I'm feeling wistful, doesn't necessarily mean that I'm being sad. It could almost be like, I use wistful and whimsical almost together. It's like,
Mm.
New York in the fall or London in the fall. I love London in the fall. I love the turning of the colors, the way that the air feels. Paris is the same way for me. Like I automatically, whenever I think wistful, I think about traveling. I think about, and especially right now, but that's the opposite of being homesick, right?
Mm.
I have a longing, like you said, the word longing to travel, but there is always a point where it's like I want to come home.
Yeah.
Um, and
It's
I've
like
never
that's
been.
the safe space.
That is the safe space, and I think it's safe because it's familiar. And
Mm.
I've never been homeless in some of the ways that people in our community have been homeless. I've been homeless in the sense of I don't have an address, and if I wanted to take a shower somewhere, I was either going to have to crash with someone or rent a hotel. And I did that for how long? 3 months solid?
Oof.
maybe 6 months
Damn.
actually, maybe longer than that.
When
I
was
think it's about
this?
6 months. This
Damn.
was
Last week?
right before. This is not mine. This is all green screen. Um, right, right after I finished this movie in July. Yeah, so from July, really before then. So from like March, I left my apartment and I went up to go do a movie. And for 3 months, I shot out this Western, but I lived out of a hotel, two different hotels. Um, I changed hotels like after because I was like the only one at this one hotel, and I was like, I want to be with the rest of the cast, and so I moved to their Hotel Santa Fe, and I stayed in that hotel for 2 months. We went to two other hotels after that because we were traveling to different locations, and then my home wasn't there anymore. I was married, and that marriage fell apart, and I was like, where do I? So I stayed with a buddy in L.A. and then I was like, I came back. I was like, I need to stay with my friend. So I stayed with my friend, Steven Kirkenbauer, in his house. But I didn't have, like, no mail could come to me because I couldn't like just give that. And that was a weird feeling. And then I moved out to LA, and it wasn't until January um, that I had an address. I was like, this is where I live. So from March to January, almost a year really, I was transient. I wasn't homeless. I had shelter, but I was transient. So I understand what it feels like to not have a sense of permanence. And so that made me feel homesick.
Yeah.
But that word may mean something completely different for someone else than it does. So I think this is a wonderful
Yeah.
challenge and a prompt to give to
And I
somebody.
guess there's kind of like a flexibility as well, because like you said, wistfulness and like a homesick, they're almost opposites. So, a home doesn't necessarily have to be a building or a house. A
Mm,
home could be a person. It could be just someone like a family member or a friend that you constantly go back to, that you seek comfort in. Um, there's something that I've seen before when I've actually Googled the Welsh word hiraeth. Some people have said that it's a homesickness for a home that never existed.
Hmm.
So
so it's more of an
sometimes,
idyllic,
yeah,
huh?
it's a weird one. It is a weird one.
I mean,
But I thought it would be an interesting thing to dive into.
when I think of it, I think of snow. Um, Mostly because like I'm born in February, so I always imagine like my when I imagine my home in my head, I see snow around it. So especially now where there are no seasons in LA, I am getting that kind of like longing for like I wish I could see snow and like just the precipitation around it and just kind of like sitting in it or exploring. Because whenever it snows, especially back in Connecticut, I would go out and I would just walk around because it's every time it snows, it's something different. The the area changes, the look of it changes. It's like it's exploring through a new world.
Hmm. Well, it's the same thing like watching Harry Potter yesterday, right? Like he had two homes, or two houses,
Yeah.
and neither were really his home. Um, he was only at Hogwarts under their good graces and auspices, but he didn't. That wasn't his home, and that's why that moment when he stays there, as opposed to going back for break, he was like, "Where am I going to go? This is my home."
Yeah.
Um, so sometimes our adopted home or the place that we travel to can become more like California is more my home than Texas is now. I've been out here for 13 years. I'm gonna move out here. Yeah, almost 13 years. And when I go back to Texas, it doesn't feel like going home. In some ways, that actually reinforces like this is why I left. I love it. It's great. I'll always be a Texas boy, but it's not home. California is home to me now. And I feel like that's the transition from going from the child that your parents raised to the adult that you became, or the person that you are becoming. And it just gets better. It gets more like I feel like I step in as my skin gets older. I feel like I get more comfortable in it. It's a good pair of jeans. Um, Thank you, Tiny Savannahs. What a great. So if you could, since I've waxed, prose all over it, could you just kind of one last time present the theme and the challenge?
Okay, so hiraeth, longing. What's something you guys are longing for right now? Is it a person? Is it a place? Is it something like snow, like Tom said? What's something you're longing for? And how do you think you're going to express that? Completely
Beautiful.
up to you.
That is up to you. If you're watching us on YouTube again, we bid you good, well, whatever. Happy time zones, as Ness says. I love that. Throughout the week, just find a creative way to express that. Share it with a friend. If you read across this somehow, find someone and connect with them and go, hey, do this challenge with me. Here's this cool word that we can learn. How can we differently express this? And let's share that together. And also share it with us. Tag us on Twitter or on Instagram, either way.
Use the hashtag prompt.
Hashtag prompt, PROMPT. But if you're part of our Rad Pack, which is a part of our Patreon, go to patreon.com/Troy Baker and find out how you can be a part. Stick around. You'll be getting the invite to join us here in the Zoom call. And then Hannah will be heading this up, hosting it. Long overdue. And then you guys will be sharing after 30 minutes how you chose to express this incredible theme. And this is where like the theme song starts or whatever.
Okay. Yep.
You're going to do that?
I'm going to do it right now. Bye, everyone.
Have a great week. Be kind to each other. Enjoy, and then see us back here Monday for maybe a live legit,
We'll see.
or if not, Saturday for the music, Sunday for another prompt.
Bye.
Bye.